Okay, we're back. Okay, we're gonna pop this on here. It's a very tight workshop here. Very tight. Alright, so we already measured this for square, but I'll show you guys how to do that. And it is tacked in 3 places. Before you move things like that, it's good to tack it in 3 spots. So let's check for square right now. Well, it's actually a rectangle, but we're checking for rectangle like square. Okay, we've got right on the money 62 inches right there. So now we're going to go to this corner. And it's right on the money. 62 inches right on the money. That means that this rectangle, I guess it's not really square because it's not square, but it's a rectangle. And it's even from corner to corner. It's good to deburr all your parts too before you weld them, or you might end up with something unsquare. That's 62 right on the money. We'll go over here. This is where a helper would come in. And 62 right on the money. Okay. And, you know, for giggles, we'll measure across here. That's 15 and a little over a half. 15, a little over a half. 15, a little over half. I think we're doing pretty well. 15 by 5 feet. Looking good. All right, let's set you up on the time lapse. Now, I did tack this in 3 spots on each edge. That ensures that when you take these off, you know, that it'll remain in square. So if I was building all the same size, I might grind this down, flip it over, and, well, you know, tack it all, and then grind off one side and then just continue to stack more tables on top to cheat a little bit if I was making all the same size. But these are all different. This one's different from my buddy. These are all different widths because the poplar slabs over there are different widths as well. I forgot what he's going to put on this. I forgot. I just know the dimensions. Okay, so let's put you in the time-lapse mode since it is Welda-palooza around here. And thanks for tuning in, and here we go. It's going to be great. It's a nice cloudy day. The AC is off in the house, which means the welder will run pretty good. Okay, bye for now, and then we'll time-lapse. Okay, we ground that off. we only have to do this one side because we're going to fit the legs. And I forgot to grind that little nub there, but now we're going to use these clamps. And these are not welding clamps. Okay, these are not for welding. It's just, I'm careful when I use these. They're aluminum, they're made for woodworking. They're made for making picture frames and stuff. Yeah, you're supposed to have different ones, or you're supposed to use these magnetic things, which I hate using because I always forget they're there and then I try to weld near them. You can tack, but you can't really weld near a giant magnet. Well, you can, but it'll look pretty bad. You can weld near a magnet. It just won't turn out too good. Okay, so we'll pop one of these legs in real quick and show you guys. Probably over here. And like I say, these are the wrong clamps. Get some welding clamps that are actually for welding. If you burn through the aluminum, then you're going to mess them up for future use with woodworking. So I make the mistake so you don't have to. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Okay, let's get this down here. And we will kind of get a better view here. So if you do use one of these kind of clamps, make sure you deburr that edge really good because you're going to be needing that. Let's see, how do we do this? I can't remember. Something like this. Well, you guys aren't going to be really able to see from there, are you? Probably not. Let's move you over here. You can kind of see what's going on there. Okay. So I'm using the 90 clamp. Now we're going to check it with a square too. We're just going to tack it and then we'll check it. On bigger stuff or stuff you can't put this on, you just have to tack the leg and then square it with the square. So you just tack it a little bit so you could take it off if you had to. Like, if I wasn't using this, I would just rest it on there and tack it, and then I would use the square like this. I would tack it on one edge, and then I would bend it. I would bend the tack, or I maybe even have to cut the tack and do it again. But figure out what side it needs to bend to, and then you'd see it and like, oh, okay, it's good there, it's good here, it's good there. I'm going to tack it. Oh, it moved because I tacked it and heat build up. Oh, okay, now I got to bend it. And then, so say you tacked it over here, it would naturally want to bend it that way. Not, I'm just exaggerating what's going on. But then you would bend it back and get it right. You know, you'd tack it and it'd be off like that. And, oh, I got to bend it back to square. Okay, good. And you'd put another tack there, and then you'd mess with that. And you get 2 tacks on there, you're kind of stuck. You could beat on it a little bit with a hammer. But you get 2 or 3 tacks on there, and you just got to deal with it. So hopefully by that point, you've got it fairly square. You know, it is just a table. It's nice to have things square, but sometimes, you know, things don't always go as planned. But it's good to try to have it square. All right, so let's get this one ready. See, it's nice having this little jig to hold it. You know, you can put it where you want it. And before we even tack it, we're going to check it. We're going to check it for square this way. And that's not bad, actually. Let's see. Okay, let me get you around here so you can see. So it's where I want it this way. And we can tell that we put a decent square in there. And that's pretty good. You don't see a lot of air there. There's no giant gap here. So we know that if we tack it here on this other edge, right? I'll show you. Give me a pencil. Give me a pointer. So if we tack it right on that edge there, not here, right here, it's going to suck it that way, and then we can bend it back where we want it. So we're going to tack it here, and if we like the way it looks, we'll tack it there. Then we'll take this off, and we might just do one tack and take that off, because we have to check square this way, although this is square, you know, should be, it's in there. So I think what we're going to do is tack it here, right there, and then we'll tack it in that corner. Obviously not with the square there, you'll ruin the square. And then we'll take this jig off. We'll check everything, and then we'll tack the other two corners. And at that point, we'll move on to the next leg. And it should be pretty good. Now, these are the kind of legs where I'm going to have to cut a piece of 1/8 inch flat bar, weld it around there, and tap it for 1/4 because obviously these little plastic caps, they'll fall right in there. And I haven't found a supplier yet that has the push-in caps for this. It would be nice to cheat a little bit, because that's a lot of extra work to get adjusters to look right and be right. And I'm working on the companies that have the push-in deals. Anyway, let's put you on here and let's zap this leg. We'll do it in real time so you can see what's going on, because it's that kind of show. Real time. Yeah. It's real time, people. Now, I'm sure some people have a better way of doing this. Maybe they just, you know, ship it and send it and just hold it with their hand and zap it and then square it. But I find it useful to use these, even though they're not really welding clamps. They do hold it in enough to tack it, and I do find it useful. And you know, the worst thing you could do is once you start welding in, you got the 4 tacks, and the heat soak went in there and tweaked the whole thing. It's a real bummer to have to cut the whole leg off or cut into the tacks, because you've cut the leg to a certain length, and you know, you're zip disting into the tacks, and then you got to grind those tacks off, and then you got to start completely over again. So try to get it square the first time. Yeah, I make the mistakes, you don't have to. Okay. Okay. Put the helmet on too. Okay. Sorry folks, sorry. Okay. Kind of tight in here if you haven't noticed. Okay. So we've got 2 tacks. Let's take this clamp off, and we'll just kind of see where we sit on squareness. We got to bend it that way a little. Yeah, not bad though. And this way has to go out. Yeah, that heat messed with stuff. Okay, that's better. That little oomph, that just me crunching it that little bit is better. This way, it needs to go that way. So let's try that. You're all kind of pressurize this, and I'll just, it's kind of flexing the whole base, but that's okay. Oh, that's pretty good. That is pretty good that way. And it's pretty good this way. I think what we're going to do now, it's pretty close. So now we're going to put a tack here, lock this in, check it again, put a tack here, and if we're satisfied with it being square, we're going to weld the bejeebies out of it. You know, first we'll go here, then we'll go here, then we'll go there. Kind of spread the heat around. And sometimes you can even like let things cool. Just do one and let it cool. It's all about keeping that leg in square. And, you know, let's just say people that are paid an hourly wage in a factory are going to be moving pretty quickly. Whereas I take my time. I want these legs to be straight. I want to be able to cut a 12-inch piece, you know, not with 45 ends, but I want to be able to cut whatever this piece is here, 14, square on each end, and I want it to just slip right in there when I weld it with minimal problems. If this is not square, then these two pieces that are going to be here on the bottom of the table are not going to be even. And you're just fighting that the whole way. So it really starts with the very first thing is squaring the base, the top. And the first leg has to be decent square. All of them have to be decently square to get these measurements to be correct when it's right here. Okay, so enough jibber jawing. Let's put you back on time lapse. I know this is so exciting, folks. I'm probably going to be losing viewers. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I check it for square once it's welded and I think it's good, but the welds are in the way? Well, you gotta kind of, you put the square against it and you measure there and there. If I had another flat ruler, it'd be better, but I can kind of eyeball it. I can tell you that it's pretty square. Like that distance there is about the same as that distance there. We could get all technical and get another square. I have a spare square. Yes, I do have a spare square. It's not the greatest square actually, but we can kind of get an idea what's going on. Yeah, so if you look here, you can see, if we could actually have light, that's, you know, a fat 3/8, and then you go up here, that's about a fat 3/8. So this is doable here. That's okay. Let's go to this side. So yeah, the weld's in the way, right? And there's another way to do it. Here, I'll show you. There's another way. You put the square up a little. It's not as accurate that way though, because the square is a little compromised because you're missing that part. But you can do it. You can get it to, oh, it's really hot. Imagine that. You can get it to go there. Oh, I gotta get the phone. Dang it, folks. And we're gonna have to bend that. I can tell right now we're going to have to put a tube. We're going to have to put a tube over this and sit it on the floor and bend it a little bit because it's touching there and it's not touching there. Okay, I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the phone call there. Anyway, this side's good. This side is good. This side's square. You can tell it's even. And we put it on this side. And there are some issues. Ow, it's still hot. Yeah, not bad. But there are some issues, like it's not touching there. It's touching up there. So what I'm going to wait until they're all on. And then I'm going to put it on the ground and stand on it and put a bar up here and adjust it how I want to. But this is not bad. I've done a few of these. This is not bad. You want to step on it right here on the ground, and you want to take a bar and just tweak it over a little bit until you're satisfied. I don't think it'll change this much. This is not bad. And it could be just a bend in the tube. Like, you know, you sight down some of these longer tubes. Oh, yeah, that one's got a little bend. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not. You know, it could just be the material. You know, it's not always the welder, okay? Sometimes, oh yeah, that one's got a little bend too. So it's not always the welder, folks. Sometimes it's the material, okay? I will fix it though. I'll make it the best I can. All right, so let's put you back on the old time lapse and do a few more of these. Yeah, I'm getting tired already. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Let's put you back on speed lapse. Okay, we're back. Yeah, we got these welded in. This one's better than that one. That one's a little out. Yeah, it's a little out on that way. And I think it's worse on this side. Imagine that. It's hot. Ow. Okay. Yeah, it's a little out. This is something I'd probably have to adjust this one before we put the bar across. This one I think I'm going to let be. But another way you can tell is, okay, so it's 14 and an eighth. I have to cut a piece that's 14 and an eighth to go in there. And you go up here to where the bar is actually going to be, well, down, because the table's upside down. And we're a little under 14, so that's a... let's see where we're at here. Yeah, we're an eighth inch, a fat eighth inch too skinny. So that means we're at least an eighth inch out of square. I think it's all this, it's this one. So I think before I even proceed to the other two, I'm going to set this on the ground and put a bar around this for leverage and stand on it and give it a little tweak until I'm satisfied with it. And all you're really doing is bending this. You're bending the tube a little. You're fudging it, you know. We'll make it as best as we can, but at this point, before I put the other legs on, I want to put this on the ground, put a big round bar like one of those around it, something that fits, so I'll have leverage, and give it a little oomph. And then when I'm satisfied that it's square this way also, that's very important for the next set of legs, and I'm satisfied that a 14 and an eighth crossbar, well, 14 and a 16th really. So really we're only, we're an eighth inch out. Yeah, that's okay. We can flex this a little. We'll put it on the ground and flex it, and I'll let you know how that goes. Okay. Get to work. No more talking. It's not funny. All right, let's give this a little shot. Yeah, we know that this one has to go that way. So just a little. It's better. Okay, that's probably about as good as we're going to get it. It's pretty good that way. Now let's check back and forth with the tape. 14 and 1/8. Yeah. Well, we made this squarer, but we want to spread this open. What's this one? Okay. This one moved during the welding too. I like this where it's at. Let's move that one that way, and then we'll check for square. Come on now, work with me here. Not that much is moving, actually. You'd be surprised how strong MIG welding is. Okay, there's 14 and a 16th. 14 and an 1/8. 14 and a 16th. And that's really square. And that's pretty square. This one could still go that way, but we don't want to do that. Oh, I see. I was on the weld. It's not too bad. You know what? We're going to call this good. There's a 1/16 of an inch difference from there. Oh, actually, 14 and a 16th. 14. It's really close when you hold this like you're supposed to. That's 14 and a 16th. That's 14 and a 32nd maybe. It's maybe 1/32 of an inch difference between here and here. We're going to go with that. We're going to let that be. We're going to do the other side and make sure these are square and in line to the other side. Okay, let's get it back up on the workbench, or the sawhorses. I didn't really have a square tube that would go over this, so I had to kind of improvise a tube within a tube. It worked. All right, let's put this back up here. We're good. I'm satisfied with this side. Let's see. Let's put it on here. Yeah, it's kind of tight in here. It's all these ridiculous bikes in the way. That's the problem. That's the whole problem. I don't have any room because there's too many pieces of junk bikes in the way. All right, let's pop another one on here. It's also good to have all your stuff deburred and ready. You know, like this tube it's a little rusty, but the edges are fairly square and deburred. Oh, this is the side I This is the side I didn't touch up. Oh man. Oh, give me a second. I gotta hit that so the clamp goes in better.
Yeah, it's really good if you deburr everything.
Let's get this clamp on here and we'll see what we can do with these other two on this side.
Yeah, it really helps if you deburr everything.
Okay, so this kind of throws me off. Here we go. Just so you guys can't see anything, that's great. Maybe we could do it like that. Yeah, let's do it this way. You guys can kind of see what's going on. All right, let's see. There was an end that was a little more square-er. Yeah, it's definitely this end. All right, where's that square at? Yeah, see, that's pretty good right now. That'll definitely change though when we tack it. See, boom. I mean, if it's just stayed that way, that would be great. So what we're gonna do is we'll check the other side real quick. We'll probably put a tack there like we did. And then on this side, oh well, we can't check this side yet, but we will. All right, let's put a tack on there. And we'll go from there. Off real quick and get our square again. Okay, it's got to go that way. Probably didn't do anything. going to make any difference now. It's tacked in. At this point, it's like weld it up and then put it on the floor and adjust it. Fair. Not great. And this side, way off. Way off. Yeah. Oh, that's great. We have two options here. Three. I'm not going to cut it apart, no. We can put a super fat bead right here on this edge. And then that's going to suck it that way. And we're going to try that first. Yeah. Yeah, we're way out. Way out. Yeah. So I think what we're going to do is put a really fat bead there. And we'll check it again. And then we'll bend it on the floor. It's going to be great. Trust me, it's going to be great. Alright, let's put the biggest, fattest bead we can think of. Weld her a little. And really just lay down the dimes on this side. Blew through. Great. That was too fat. Yeah, it just blew through. We'll fix that though. Oh man. Maybe not turning the welder up would be good. Alright, well, let's see what we got anyway. I make the mistake so you don't have to. Still messed up. We're going to put it on the ground and we're going to adjust it right now. Yeah, maybe turning the welder up wasn't the idea. Let's see if we can adjust this to somewhat square. Oh man, I wish I hadn't blown through that. That's how it goes though. Fairly thick wall tubing, that was surprising. I guess the welder is running really good today without the air conditioning on in the house. Okay, can you guys see what's going on? I think you can. Better. Not great, but better. If we just had a longer piece of this, we could put it down on the base. I don't think I have anything that long though. Because I don't want to risk bending this. Well, this is what I got. Oh, I see a big piece of square tubing over there. I'm going to get that and try that. Oh, awesome. Let's try this big hunk here. It's still a little shy, but at least it's down lower. Okay, you guys ready? It's getting better. That's almost there, actually. Wow, that is almost there. And this way could go that out. Let's try to bring this out first. In. Okay. Let's see what we got. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, we're just gonna go with that. See, I can't get very close because of the fat weld, but it's much better. I can't get this square close because of this huge bead here, but this looks pretty good. And this way it's not bad. I think it's a little out, but I think what I'm gonna do, fill that hole, weld everything up, then maybe a final adjustment once I got the other one on here. I think we're gonna go with that though. Let's fix that hole. And to fix the hole, we'll lay it up sideways somewhere. Just put the welder on low, which I should have had it on low first. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna lay it sideways like this. And just kind of fudge in that hole. Yeah, we'll fix that hole. Don't worry, we'll fix that. No one will ever know that's there. Well, you guys will know. But other than that, yeah, you guys are the only ones that know. How about that? There's an old trick, you can put a bolt in there too, but I don't like welding galvanized stuff. It's not good. Or if you found some bolt, like an old carriage bolt that wasn't galvy, you could put it in that hole and weld over it. Okay, we got the welder turned down quite a bit now. And we'll just kind of pop it a few times and try to fill up that hole. See a problem with that. No one's ever gonna know, except you guys. Yeah, we'll just grind that off a little. Yeah, we'll touch that with the grinder, it'll be fine. Okay, so let's finish this side up. Woo. Let's turn the nice little side action here. Almost burned through that one. Yeah. I guess with the AC off today, there's more power to the welder. I gotta turn it down a little bit more. I'm not used to that. I'm used to, you know, with the AC on the house, the shop is kind of connected to the house right now. So I'm usually running the welder on the most extreme setting I can get out of it. And right now, today, it's a cool day, so the AC is off. So I got to remember to turn the welder down a little bit. All right, let's get this other one on. And then we'll see how we're doing square-wise, which is probably not great, but we'll see. Pick a square end here. That looks pretty square, kinda. Actually, that end looks better. All right, that's the end. Always something. Which end did we say was square? It's not that one. I think it's this one. All right. Let's check it this way. It's doable. That's good. Let's just put one tack on this time. Let's not get all excited. Okay, we got one little tack. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, we got 4 tacks. That's way out that way. that's decent. This good this way. Okay. Well, you know, things always change. You know, you tack them and the heat draws it the other way. It's the way it is. You have to fight it. Anyway, so this one's way out, and I can sight down, excuse me, I can sight down this and I can totally tell. If you sight down that, it's like an inch that way. If you sight down this one, you're fairly good there. Okay, so, and we could also check it across, but I know it's off. I'm not even going to play around. Let's put it on the ground, and I'm not going to put a fat bead there this time. It didn't work out too good last time. And the welder started to act a little funky. I wonder if the AC came on in the house. Let me check. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Mid-weld, the AC came on in the house. I got to get this shop actually wired someday. Yeah. I'll put a GoFundMe down there for my shop to get a sub panel. I've been welding in this shop. I've been in this shop 10 years doing everything on 2 large extension cords. I've blown the fuses a few times, usually when I try to run my AC and do some welding, but I've been very fortunate. Probably hasn't done the welder any good. Probably should think about getting a panel put in so I'm not hurting the welder. But the welder's 10 years old also, so I guess I'm ahead of the curve, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we know we're out here. This is bad. So let's get the bar on it and put it on the ground again. Or I could just stand on it. Let's just try to muscle it right now, the way it is. Not the way to do it, folks. Not the way to do it. Okay, let's see if that did anything. Oh yeah, yeah, that's actually too far, but that's good. And that's right on the money. Okay, tell you what, it's a little too far, so we'll weld this edge here, and it should suck it back. Let's give it a shot. That worked out so good last time. Trying not to burn through, that's why I stopped a few times. I wanted the welder on high, but only burn through. Alright, let's check for square. Set this thing off real quick. Okay, so we were a little bit too far, and I just put that fat bead there. And now it sucked it back that much. Wow! Look at that, folks. We were a little bit that way, and now it sucked it back so bad. So do we just keep going? Do we put a fat bead here and check it? Let's do that. Let's just keep going. You know, we're using our skills here to fight this back into square by welding on each side of the tube that's appropriate. So let's give it a shot. Okay, that wasn't a super fat bead. But let's check for square now. it's a dicey little game. Not bad. I kind of missed the weld a little bit. I kind of missed that weld a little low on that tube. You know, that's not bad. I think I'm going to let that be and just weld it all up. This isn't going to change that much now that I have two sides welded. And it looks pretty decent. Let's see, it could go out that way. We could adjust it a little more, but you know what? Let's put a fat weld here, and then we'll check this. Because it is in that way a little. So our next weld will be right there. Okay, we're learning. You guys with me on this? You weld the side that needs to get sucked in, and that way you're trying to get it back in square. Although with two sides welded, you're not really going to be doing much at this point, except a few millimeters, a few billionths of an inch. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, that sucked it in good. Okay, I'm calling that one. We got one more side to do, and then we'll see about this distance in between. And the final check. That looks great. That one's not bad. It's a little out. I think if it's big, what we'll do is if it's big across here and short here, we'll just suck that in a little bit because it's a little out. And this weld wasn't that good. I'll go back over that. But let's get the tape measure and see how far out we are across the board. Hmm. 14 1/8 without me pulling on it. 14 3/8. Okay, yeah, it is out a little bit. But like I said, it's 14. I pull on it, it's 14 1/8. 14 3/8. Yeah, it is out a little bit, but since this is smaller down here, when we put the 14 1/8 here, we'll be able to clamp these in. They will move, and we'll get it back into square. That's better than having that big and this that small and this big. Oh, wait, that's small. That's good. And that's big. That's good. If this was small and that was big, then you'd have a problem. But now we can put a clamp right here, and it won't affect a lot of stuff. But let's go, and what we'll do is we'll measure corner to corner. I know it's going to be out, but it's not going to be that bad because I've been very careful today. So let's go to this corner. And this will be different from that other measurement. It won't be 62. It'll be something else. And this is 61 5/8. Okay. Go on here. This is the moment of truth, folks. Did all that bending and tweaking, and oh, look at that, 61 1/2. So we are an 1/8 inch out. That's not bad, folks, on a table of this size and these clamps I'm using and stuff like that. That's not bad. All right, let's get. I gotta put you in this stand. We're gonna measure across here and then on the top. That is not bad. And you might be able to get some of that out when you clamp the piece in and weld it. If you do the long pieces first, you might be able to get that out. So down here, we have 58 3/8. And where the tube is going, it's 58 3/8. Oh man, we did good. We did good on that. This one's, these two are nice. Let's check this one. There's a way to burn an inch with the tape measure too. Like you just put it here and you measure it, but we're not going to do all that fancy stuff. We're just keeping it real simple here. And this is 58 3/8, and up here 58. Oh wow, yeah, 58 1/8. All right, so we are a 1/4 inch out on this one. We are a 1/4 inch out on this to there, but we are going to put a steel piece across here, and since it's smaller there, we'll be able to suck in that. So I think we're okay. We'll be able to push that out. It's big to small. It's big down here. It's smaller up here. Is that going to work? Let me think now. Yeah, we'll be able to spread it out. Exactly. We cut the bar. We cut the 1/2 inch bar at 58 3/8, and we shove it in here and push this one across out, and you can see that one's pretty good. It's probably all this weird one. Yeah, it's this one right here. It's a little off. Hey, we'll work it. What we'll do is we'll put these long pieces in first and spread this one just a little bit with the long piece in there. Tack it. Then we'll put these across, and it'll be nice. Yeah, I can live with this. At least 3/4 of it is fairly square, and this last part we can fudge it. We'll cut this at 58 3/8. We'll slide it up here. This will spread across. We'll clamp it, we'll weld it, and it'll be exactly like this opening here, and it won't really mess with anything because this is pretty good. This backside is pretty good, and we'll probably make this the back side of the table, and this nicer side will be the front. So there you have it. Hope you've enjoyed today. I'm tired now, and there's lots of work to do, so I don't think I'm going to get to these tables today, but at least we got a table that is ready for the bottom pieces, the supports, and yeah, we're getting it. Okay, eventually sometime in my lifetime I'll be able to work on bikes again. Okay, signing off. Hey, have a good day. Keep it positive, folks. Sorry for the long-winded video, but people have to learn, and what better way to learn than watching me make a few mistakes that can be fixed. We did burn through. There is one of these legs that is a little out, but it's not bad. I think we can work it. All right, stay in the positive, folks. Just keep working on your stuff. You'll be fine. Okay, folks, we have these in, and like I expected, these two were quite good. This only sucked in a little bit. This one was perfect, and this end was about a 1/4 inch off on the square of one of these legs. So what I did was I just put it in and clamped it tight. These are both 14-inch pieces, and it was about a 1/4 inch off, so I clamped it in and tacked it, and hopefully these little tacks will hold. I'm going to take it out and measure everything, remeasure everything. So let's take it out real quick, and we'll see how far we are off. I think we're doing pretty well. Let's unclamp this. Going up. Yeah, we'll unclamp this and see. So far, so good. No tacks broke. It wasn't really that much pressure. I just barely had to squeeze it in a little bit. So that's another good sign. That'll be pretty close. Now we're not gonna like go banging on this. We are gonna measure it, but then I'll go in and I'll re-weld. I'll weld all. These are all just tacked. From experience, I know. Just, you know, you weld the legs on and you straighten them, but when you put these bottom braces on of the table, you just tack them because you never know how it's going to turn out. You might have to cut one unless you have a jig, and I don't have a jig for any of these. All right, so let's measure. Let's measure what it is across. All right, so that's 15 1/8 from that outside to that outside. We're just measuring the width right now. And this part kind of varies now and then. No, 15 1/4. Okay, that did vary. That's okay. We're not totally sunk. It's how you weld them on that too, so that's the variation. All right, let's check for square. We'll go to this corner here. Square of the rectangle, right. Let's see if the rectangle is square. Yeah. Okay, we got 61 5/8. 61 5/8, corner to corner on those legs. I think we're probably a little out. We're probably an 1/8 inch out. Yep, 61 3/4. Okay, we are an 1/8 inch out of square. You know, on a big table like that, that's not bad. That's not too bad, actually. Okay, let's check the outward action here. That is 59 3/4. Dang it. And about 59 3/4. Okay. So we are, you know, we're an 1/8 inch out. Is that really going to matter? Probably not. The top is definitely square. We could remeasure that real quick, but I don't really want to move it and rest it on these tacks. Maybe we should. Let's do that. Yeah, we're an 1/8 inch out. You know, on a smaller table, you might be concerned, but on something this big, let's measure the top real quick and see how bad that is. There's some crud on, there's some weld on here. There's a little extra weld on that edge, so we'll have to just kind of assume for that. 61 5/8, but there's extra weld on there. And there's a glob on there too. I really should grind these welds down and then try it, but we'll get a rough idea. And 61 3/4. I think there's a globby weld on this other end, because once I grind that down, it'll actually be closer. I think it's really close to being square on the top. Let's look at this weld over here and see if that's like an 1/8 inch sticking out. Yeah, there's some globby stuff there. Okay, I think we're all right. I think the top is square and the bottom's an 1/8 inch out. And who knows, once you start welding it, you know, if you really took your time and figured out where the part was out of square and welded this first, or if you really took your time and welded the part you wanted to suck in, you might actually get it back in square. I don't think I'm going to worry about that though. What's an 1/8 inch? I think we're good. Yeah, these will weld up nicely. Looks a little goofy with the solid bar and the 3/4 tubing, but at least it's, at least it's fairly square. I think we'll be all right. All right, so now what's the next step? Well, the next step is we turn it back over and we weld everything that's tacked, and then we turn it back over here and we weld everything that's tacked, and then we grind it all down, and then we weld some 1/8 inch. Well, let's turn this over right now. Another thing we got to do is, although this table really doesn't need the support, it's really strong. I think what I'm going to do is put a bar right here, and maybe a bar across with a little star detail or something. So that's the back of the table towards the wall. Just an extra little, it'll stiffen the table up, but I really don't think it's, even though it's tacked and everything, it's really strong feeling. I could put a bar across here. How far do you want to go? How fancy do you want to make this? Is there going to be another shelf here? Are you going to put some mesh? How fancy are you going to make it? Is it a $600 table or is it a $300 table? I'll put the stiffener in the back. I kind of like the idea of putting a little cross action here with a little star thingy. You'll see it when it's done. Kind of like that. I got to weld some 1/8 inch on here. Tap it for 1/4 20 for the adjusters. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Yeah, let's keep welding. I'll spare you the details on that. I think I'll just pop you back in when it's kind of more finished. I don't have the top. It's at my friend's house. I might just drill some holes through this for the screws that, this 3/4 and the top is a 3/4, so you'd probably get an 1.25 inch screw, or maybe an 1.5 inch. You wouldn't want to poke through the top, so I think I'm just going to drill some holes through, 3 here and 4 along there. And if I do put a bar across, I'll drill a hole in that. I don't really think that's going to be necessary, though. We'll see. It's nice to have a bar in the middle so you can suck the whole slab down if it's warped, and they usually are. Okay, have a good day, and keep it positive and learn from my mistakes. Hey, folks. Faulkner Fixes All here. Yeah, I thought I'd at least give you guys a finishing shot of the table that we were working on the other day. Turned out pretty good. Not too heavy. Definitely is a strong table. And what I noticed about this one, with the tubing and solid bar, when you're done with the table, you kind of, when you're center peening at the drill, or just for habit, you kind of shot peen it a little bit and see if it rings true. And what I've noticed about this one is it rings for a very long time. And I never really had that happen with a table before. Maybe it's because of the tubing plus the solid bar. It's got quite a resonance. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to whack it. And the initial hum will go away, but the vibration lasts for it seems like 5 minutes or something. I don't know if that you can pick that up. It's still humming. It's still humming. Now you might not be able to hear that, but you think the hum is gone, but it's actually still resonating. Like when I grabbed this, it was still humming. It was still moving. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, it's all done. We're about to go load it up and deliver it. It turned out pretty well. I especially like this backside here. Got some stiffening action. If you just build these without these stiffeners, with just the 4 and an open space, they're a bit tweaky, they're a bit they're a bit wobbly. They don't quite. You need something on the back of it. Anyway, I think they're going to be okay. This is what they ordered. I kind of had the artistic license. There wasn't anything they really said specific about this area. I gave them a few ideas, and they were just like, "Well, yeah, just make it nice." So this is me just, making it nice. And it is drilled for adjusters. I'll show you. Here's a little pack of them right here. There's an adjuster. So yeah, I try not to use these plastic things for the tubing. Plus I couldn't really use it for this anyway. But it is drilled. Oh, that's noisy. Drilled and tapped. See, there you go. No plastic insert there. Just right, drilled right in there. Drilled and tapped 1/4 that way. It sits pretty level on this level concrete, but just in case someone brings it to their cabin or some kind of area they need to level it, I always throw those in. I'm not going to deliver it with them in. I'm just going to wire a little pack in the middle here so they get the idea. There's some 1 1/16 one. The 7/8 one looks better, but I think I'm going to give them this pack. I'm just going to wire it like right here so they get the idea. Anyway, that's the end product of all that welding and making the table straight, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. Here's some tools I found that were very rusty, and I put some oxalic acid on them, and hopefully, nothing can really go wrong with that. But these were made in England. I got to clean these up a little better. I got to rinse all the acid off and see how they look. Okay, yeah, we are we're getting things going on here. Don't worry, this is still on the stand. Don't worry, it's still on the stand. Have a good day. Keep it positive, folks. Yeah, just working away here. I got a few tables to build, and then we definitely will get back on some bikes, recreation time, because man, I really need to work on some bikes. It makes me feel good, and it's good to feel good, especially with what's going on today. You gotta feel good. All right, peace out. Everybody be good, okay? All right. Okay. We have just delivered this base, and we're gonna just set I think it's walnut, the top. We're gonna set the top on and see how it looks. I'm not in charge of screwing anything down. I just made the base, and I made those legs too, and I made those legs over there, those black ones. Yeah, nice little set of furniture ready to go for someone. All right, let's put the base on this, and then see how we'll just set it on there. I'm not going to like I say, I'm not really in charge of assembling it today. I just want to see what it looks like. Something like this. Looks pretty even. Looks like my measurements were correct. Sometimes I can use a tape measure. Remember, I make the mistake, so you don't have to. It's not centered or anything, it's not centered back and forth. I just want to get an idea of what it's going to look like. Not bad. It's definitely sturdy. And this top needs to be, there's some sanding. Maybe run it through well, you can't run it through the planer, it's too wide. There's a considerable amount of sanding to get these, I don't know if you can pick them up, but there's a considerable amount of sanding to get these scratches out. I don't know what that was about. I think somebody may have used a belt sander in the wrong way. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, yeah, someone tried to belt sand it or something. But that's got to be sanded out, this area here. Turned out pretty good. I was going to try to mimic this action here in the lower shelf, but I deemed it not necessary, and it wouldn't really strengthen the table. All you'd have is like a little detail under the table that would look kind of odd, like an eyeball or something. So I went with the just, you know, stiff rod kind of thing. It's very sturdy, and there are adjusters. I gotta wire those on somewhere so no one loses them. I could put them on, but for some reason I don't really want to put them on yet. I think I'll just leave them here. There they are. Okay, so that is the skinny, and we have delivered it, and it's looking pretty fly. You know, against a white wall, you know, you could really pick up the detail, but right now it's just, you know, up here jumbled with a bunch of stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's looking good, and now we're gonna go and work on bikes. No, I can't work on bikes yet, but it's coming soon. These are really nice. This one turned out pretty good too. This little darling there. And I made the legs on this. They're just legs. They don't connect or anything. Those were kind of hard because you're trying to make this square, and all you have is this piece to square off of it, and it changes when you weld it. And it was a bit difficult. I guess it wasn't that hard. It was just, it's not really how I do things. I make the base, you know, and then we put a top on it. I don't really like the bolt-on legs because they're kind of flimsy. You know, this one's pretty stiff. Anyway, yeah, signing off for now. Let's go do some more welding because I love welding. Have a good day, folks.